Welcome back, everyone, to another set of ideas that I hope to see in MLP's future. Though I must admit, even now I'm beginning to wish that Season 5 could come a little sooner, I'm still having fun coming up with more what-ifs on the kind of story arcs and character development we could get from MLP. And you know what I would like to see? Some genuine, heartfelt conflict between the CMC. We've had many episodes that have shown how the CMC deal with external conflicts, but only rarely have we seen these three have reason to pull away from each other. We did get some of this during Flight to the Finish, and it did help to drive home a very emotional scene later on in the episode. But since the main focus was about how Scootaloo saw herself, and not so much about how they see each other, it makes me rather curious just what kind of story we could get if the main focus was about some sort of conflict in their group. However, in order to make this work, I think we'll have to put the majority of the episode's focus on one of the CMC, specifically Apple Bloom. Now, normally I'd say that Apple Bloom has gotten more focus in the series than either of the other two, and that we should be seeing more episodes giving Sweetie Belle and Scootaloo their chance in the spotlight. But with what I have in mind, I think the only way it really could work is with Apple Bloom, because I want her to go through what the other two have already had their chance to do. We saw it happen to Scootaloo in Season 3 and to Sweetie Belle in Season 4. And given that most everyone enjoys seeing another appearance of Luna, I'd like to have an episode where Apple Bloom has a visit from the Princess of the Night in her dreams. But exactly what sort of conflict could arise between the CMC? How could we connect it with a dream that Apple Bloom has? Well, I know that a lot of people are probably going to groan when I say this, but I think it should have to do with getting a cutie mark. I know, there have already been several episodes revolving around the CMC trying to get their cutie marks in some form. And a lot of us have gotten tired of hearing about that aspect of their character arcs, but just hear me out. I imagine that this episode could begin with the CMC doing their usual thing, having fun trying some random new activity and enjoying the camaraderie. Until that evening when Apple Bloom has a very troubling dream. It starts out rather happy as she sees her friends have finally gotten their cutie marks. As to what exactly their cutie marks would be, there are all kinds of options that the writers could come up with. Off the top of my head, I could see Sweetie Belle getting into a singing career and Scootaloo being a sort of daredevil athlete with her scooter. But given this is Apple Bloom's dream, you really could give any kind of impressive skill to the others and make it work. Of course, Apple Bloom is overjoyed to see her friends being so successful and starts wondering what her cutie mark turns out to be. Until she looks back and sees nothing. She looks around and realizes that she's still working on the farm helping her family, but hasn't yet discovered what her special talent could be. And to make things worse, both Sweetie Belle and Scootaloo have become so focused and excited about their new careers based on their cutie marks that it causes the three of them to start drawing apart. The following morning, both Sweetie Belle and Scootaloo are looking forward to spending another day trying to discover what their cutie marks could be. But Apple Bloom feels rather hesitant and even a little upset. Of course, her friends would do their utmost to find out what's wrong, but Apple Bloom is too torn up inside to tell them about it. She wants to feel happy about her friends finding so much success in the future, but at the same time, feeling troubled that she doesn't find that same success in her own life. And even worse, fearing that once they find their cutie marks, there won't be much of a reason for them to stick together anymore. This could easily lead to a bit of genuine conflict between the CMC. Not to the point where they begin yelling at each other, but more than enough to draw in the audience. And when Apple Bloom falls asleep the following evening, the dream returns again. And she begins feeling even more helpless as events continue to unfold around her. Once more seeing her friends become far more successful than she will be, and drawing further away from one another as time drags on. It is at this point that the Princess of the Night makes her appearance. Luna has her heart-to-heart talk with Apple Bloom and even manages to bring up some personal experiences that would have a lot of relevance. During their time as young fillies, Luna and Celestia would spend all their time together, being the best of friends and dreaming about the future. Until one day they became the rulers of Equestria, and suddenly it became far more important that they spend their time serving others. Of course, they could talk about how envious she was that Celestia had been given far more success and admiration than what Luna was given, But the main focus I would like to see is how important it is that a pony's special talent be shared with the world, even if friendships cannot be what they were before. That Apple Bloom should support her friends in their endeavors and help them to be all they can be regardless of her own level of success. And when it comes to staying close to one another, Luna could talk about her own relationship with Celestia, and that even though they can't spend as much time with each other like they could when they were fillies, their bond continues to be strong and they will always be there to support one another in times of need. When Apple Bloom awakes, she goes off to apologize to her friends and promises to do all she can to help them in their endeavors, even if that might mean she could be left behind. A life lesson that I believe would fit perfectly into an episode of MLP. But what do you think? Given what we've seen from the CMC thus far, would you want to see a story that shows a genuine conflict between them? Given that Luna has spent time with both Scootaloo and Sweetie Belle already, would you want Apple Bloom to have a visit from the Princess of the Night as well? What do you think about having a life lesson that focuses on supporting others in their successes, even if your friendship could not be everything that it was before? I would like to hear your thoughts on this episode idea, and here's looking forward to when Season 5 comes along next year. I am DRWolf, and I look forward to hearing from you.